Welcome to Break Free from Corporate, the only podcast dedicated to bringing you business success secrets from leading entrepreneurs with one thing in common. They left the corporate world, became their own boss, and are now living incredible lives. To access previous and all future episodes, visit breakfreefromcorporate.com and subscribe today.
Well, welcome everyone. This is Gavin Sequeira back again, and we've got another exciting episode to bring to you. I'm really thrilled to be able to talk to our guest today. His name is Angel Ribo. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Angel. He's based in the US, but he has done a lot of great things in his time. So he's called the CEO Confidant, and I'm sure he's going to explain a little bit about what that means. But he really helps sales teams and sales managers be the guardian of their company's revenue. And I'm excited to find out a little bit more about that. He's been a television host. He's an influencer in the hospitality industry. He's been involved in marketing. He's done a lot of great things. He's even, he tells me in our previous chat that he's been interviewed well over 100 times on podcasts, and he's been on lots of councils and forums and tech startups and things like that, where he's really been someone whose voice has carried a lot of weight. And I'm just really excited because from our perspective, we always talk about people who have gotten out of corporate and are doing things they love. So Angel is definitely one of those movers and shakers. And Angel, if you're with us, welcome to the program.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Gavin, for such a warm introduction. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you everybody who's listening to us today.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, look, Angel, I really want to get to know you a bit better on this podcast, and I'm sure our listeners who, would love to find out. Firstly, what were some of the things you were doing before you got into this exciting world where you've got your own business and you really help shaping people's lives and things like that? What were you doing before, back in corporate days? If you can go back and
of course. Yeah. So basically, I worked for several high-tech companies. I started to do that in Europe. Before I left Europe, I'm originally from Spain,
Right.
and I started basically helping CEOs and C-level executives to accelerate the growth of their businesses through different strategies using several products and several services. Mm-hmm. That's what I used to do. And basically, that's like in a word or in a term that everybody in corporate America or in corporate world would understand. It was like the business development guy, right, for those companies.
Yes.
And I was doing that first in Europe, then in Latin America, then in the entire Americas. And I was obviously doing that directly. So I was basically helping companies grow through sales and my sales team, but also through, and that's something I specialized, through someone else's team. So through someone else's sales teams.
Gotcha.
At some point, I had more than 120 people I was helping grow in the business arena with their own company. So, and that's good. Being able to work on this distribution channel, kind of environment where I was helping business owners with their entire teams is very rewarding, because those teachings not only stay with you, but also help those companies grow. And that was extremely rewarding. I think that I was so engaged with them. I felt like they were part of my family, and I was part of their families, really.
Yeah.
They had me really close to their teams, and I really loved it. I mean, also you have to, obviously, having an indirect sales model means that as a company, if you're selling through other companies, it means that your costs are down, and yes, typically your costs are directly related to the sales that you do, right? So that's like a very efficient model to sell. And again, from a personal and human perspective, is very good.
Fantastic. And it sounds like you have amazing experience. I mean, I come from a sales background myself, and, I can appreciate the kind of work that you did, and especially if you were enabling CEOs and companies to grow their revenue and all. I mean, that is like a lifeline to these companies. So I'm sure you did some really, really great work. And I know you're one of those people, Angel. We spoke previously. You're very passionate also about what you do. I can tell that just from your energy, and and you really truly believe in making a difference. I mean, when you were in the corporate space, I'm just really curious, did you feel like there was anything missing in what you were doing, or did you just feel like the time was right for you to kind of do things on your own and, you know, really take things to another level? Like what was I guess one, if not more, of the drivers that, you know, took you on that entrepreneurial path?
I mean, when I was in corporate America, I think that the reason why I stayed so long is because I was really thriving and I was really learning.
Yeah.
And those were also the reasons why I left. You know, so I really enjoyed helping people. I really enjoyed helping them take their game to the next level. I really enjoyed being able to also experiment. I mean, they were really open to experiment. I spent also so many weekends, which is unheard of, weekends literally like training people. And I am a very unconventional guy, so that's why probably companies like me, because I tend to do things that other people don't do.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I said, "Hey, I would like your team." I was talking to the CEO of a reseller of ours, and I was telling them, "I would like your entire admin team, your entire technical team, your entire financial team, absolutely everybody, not only your sales team, on this sales training that we're organizing for this upcoming weekend." And they said, "Really?" And I said, "Yes." And they asked me, "Why?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, it's very simple, because everybody is involved in any sale that your company does."
Yeah.
And that's a blind spot, Gavin.
It is.
A lot of companies, and you know what? The company was working with at that time, they didn't have any sort of certification process in place, like sales certification. I literally made the sales certification myself. And I started to certify, I started to measure the sales acumen, the sales skills of every single person on my distribution channel. And guess what?
What's that?
The number one, the guy that got the highest mark, the highest grade on the certification tests was not a salesperson.
Isn't that interesting?
It was not.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember the guy, we're still in touch, and he was an applications engineer.
Mm-hmm.
He was better than any other salesperson, sales manager, sales VP, as far as the certification process for the sales certification process we put in place. Amazing, right?
That is amazing.
You find those jewels, you find these amazing people that unknowingly they know so much about selling and they could help their company so much more. And unfortunately also as leaders, sometimes we overlook that. We don't see that.
Yes.
And unfortunately also very often their own managers and supervisors, they don't know that. They don't see that.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but for me, I always see the glass half full.
Yes.
Always, all the time.
Yes.
Because I think that there's so much that we can do with people who are motivated to make a better job or to have a better job or to do a better work where they are. Even if the statistics about the disengagement of the workforce on a global basis is high levels of disengagement, I still believe that people genuinely want to help their employer, honestly.
Oh, I truly, truly believe. I mean, you and I are on the same page. I mean, I remember when I was in corporate, I would do anything for the company. I loved doing what I did, but I also, would be one of those people who would do more than was required. Now, there are some people who don't feel that way, and there's some people who would love to contribute more, but maybe it's because of their role definition or where they're placed or their managers or their, the department, and that they don't talk to other departments and they're held back. And what I'm hearing from what you're saying is, you go into a company and you don't just do sales training, you actually uncover the gems, the hidden gems within the company to help that company, accelerate even faster. And I really love that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes people ask me, what kind of companies do you work with? I mean, what industries do you prefer?
Yeah.
And you mentioned the hospitality industry because I really like it, and I really can, and I really make a difference.
Yeah.
On that industry with everything that I do. But let me tell you something. I choose my clients following these 3 criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, that's the CEO, so the person that's going to hire me. Does the CEO really want to change him or herself?
Yeah.
Number two, do they really want to leave a legacy? And number 3, do they would really want to change the world? If those three things are a check mark, then I work with that person. And even putting those 3 criteria up front, sometimes I make mistakes.
Of course.
But I really want to work with people that want to make changes, and allow themselves to make mistakes and proof test things. It's why keep on doing the same thing, more efficiently, the wrong thing. Why keep on doing the wrong thing more efficiently?
Yeah, that's right.
It's crazy.
It is. It's frustrating sometimes working with people or in organizations where they just try and become more efficient doing what they've always done. And, they go for the 1% improvements. And, if they get that, they feel like they're on track. Whereas what I'm hearing from you is, and I'm on the same page, is how do we make a real shift? And we're not talking the 1 or 2%, we're talking the 20, 30, 50%. Sometimes, how do you go maybe in a slightly different tangent and think differently? And that's why I'm a big fan of people like Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple. His whole slogan was think differently. Don't do the same thing over and over again. And Einstein famously said, if you do the same thing over and over again, and expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity. And I think you're just shedding light on that in a much bigger way, which is great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's a matter of just trying. Yeah. Every single business leader wants their team to be accountable and wants their team to be engaged. The thing is, how are you going to do it? What are you going to compromise, right? To sacrifice in order to allow your team to be fully engaged, to be the best that they can be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
I do.
That's the thing. That's the big question. How much are you willing to change and to allow your teams to change in order to achieve what you want to achieve in the first place?
And that's actually a good segue into, talking about change, right? And change can be, for some people it's exciting, for some people it's scary. And if you're the leader of a company, change can be both of those things, because it means taking people in a different direction. What is that going to mean? How are people going to react, and all of that? So, there can be a little bit of fear and anxiety with some of that as well. But I'm curious from your perspective, Angel, when you made that decision to, I guess, get out of corporate and do your own thing and really, take this skill set that you have on the road and make a difference, doing what you love. How did you embrace that change? What was it like for you? Were you confident pretty much from day one? Did you make mistakes? Did you have challenges? Like, what was the road for you?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't so clear. It's funny because my company even gave me like an outplacement company, like to go to another place.
Yes.
And they gave me a very nice package to live on. But even though they did that, everybody around me wanted to go to another job, and I didn't want it. So I was kind of in the wrong place. But the people there tried to help me. They knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and they tried to help me, but they really didn't. So I wish I had taken one path and just followed through. And that was the best. Very often I talk about the mistakes I made. That's one of them. I wish I had chosen one path and just go with it. Go,
Yes.
And just try and just go talk to my potential clients, prospects, allies, resellers, partners, whoever they were going to be, and just start making mistakes. Clarity is very difficult. And everybody has to know that there's no such thing as a perfect path when you leave corporate America or the corporate world, anyone in the world. There's no such a thing as a perfect path. You learn the path while you're taking it.
Yes.
So that's why my advice is always, that's my main business mantra. You probably have read that on some of my documents. It's take imperfect action now. Take imperfect action now. I always tell everybody, the most important thing that's going to get you closer to success, and you define success as you wish, is if you start taking action without thinking about it twice. Yeah. And I used to be a perfectionist, and I think that probably in my life there's still some areas in my life in which I'm a perfectionist, and that's a flaw, and that's a massive flaw. Yes. Again, I mean, I'm telling you openly.
No, I yeah,
and that's a flaw. So take imperfect action. Start working on something and start making. I mean, who's going to pay your bills? Your clients. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is get yourself a 10,000 feet, 30,000 feet view of what you want to do, and start talking to your potential future clients. That's it. Yeah. Nothing else. Nothing else. Maybe you should put some passion into as an ingredient to that. So try to do something you're passionate about. Try to do something that the other people tell you you're an expert on, right?
Yep.
And then start talking to your clients and ask them, how would you do this? And I'm planning to do this. And how much would you pay for this kind of service?
Yeah.
And how much? And do you know what the market pays for this? And keep going, keep going, keep going. And if you listen and you analyze what's happening around you, you will eventually perfect your offer.
Yes.
And instead of, I don't know, let's say you start doing business coaching. Initially, you don't know what's the best process. Just put the process in place and start implementing it. Yes. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be your system. It's going to be your process.
Correct.
Start doing it. And then little by little, you will see how it works. You will see how it doesn't work. And you will start implementing and course correcting and course correcting and course correcting. And that's the best predictor of your success. Making mistakes. That's the best predictor. Really. There's nothing else.
No, that's
unfortunately.
True. That's true. I mean, I talk to people all the time, and a lot of people are really fearful of making mistakes. And the one thing then that slows them down is procrastination, because, like you said earlier, Angel, people, especially people who've come from a corporate background, they might have been very good at what they do, and now they're going into this imperfect world of entrepreneurial, journey, and suddenly everything is, there is no perfection, there is no right way to do things, and that can scare them. And so, people, they wait and they delay and they work on their plan, and they really, they get stuck in the how to do it, but they're not actually doing it. And you bring up a very, very good point, so I can see, you obviously just hit the ground running, and you weren't afraid to make mistakes because you learn from mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, which is actually when we started, I have to confess, I miserably failed to Gavin today because I was like almost 15 minutes late to this recording.
That's okay.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I mean, even if you try to have everything under control, unfortunately things happen. And I had another interview before, and suddenly, and I hate this, but suddenly this update of this operating system, had been downloaded into my computer like 1 week ago, and I avoid any single update to my operating system.
Yeah.
Right? So guess what?
Yep.
Guess what my machine decided to do? So I was in the middle of that interview, and 4 times, not one, 4 times my machine rebooted.
Wow.
Rebooted because of that update, and I couldn't do anything. And obviously, my other host was extremely benevolent and kind and flexible, just as Gavin. But what I'm trying to say is maybe the message we had to send all the entrepreneurs that were listening was like, starting our own business is like rebooting our lives.
Oh, that's a good analogy. Yeah, it is. Yes.
And really, and my story, and actually her story, the host's story, was also very powerful. It was about rebooting. And she has had to reboot her life several times. And actually, let me tell you, I rebooted my life when I left Spain. I rebooted my life when I left the UK. I rebooted my life when I left Latin America. And I rebooted my life when I left, every time I left my corporate jobs, So
yeah,
it's crazy, but you have to be compassionate with yourself. Don't be so hard.
Yes.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And if you are surrounded by judgmental people, change the people that are surrounding you.
Very good advice. Very good advice. I mean, yeah, I love the concept of rebooting, because especially for our listeners, Angel, a lot of them are still working in corporate. A lot of them are trying to make this transition a reality. And you're quite right. One, it's an imperfect world out there, but two, you are making a significant change to the future of, your future. So it is going to be a reboot. Now, you can plan that. That's one of the great things. But like you said, you can plan and plan and plan, but things will still happen that you can't plan for. You just have to be flexible. And I like how you said earlier, just be a bit compassionate on yourself and not be so hard on yourself, because I see some people who are really critical of themselves. They're really hard. They really, we're our own worst critic, right? And no one is harder on ourselves than ourselves. And sometimes you just have to take a breath and go, you know what? Life or the universe is putting this challenge in front of us to teach us a lesson. What is the lesson that I can learn so that, I can move forward? And like you said, with your computer resetting 4 times, your host obviously understood what was going on. So she was able to, your co-host, so she was able to, be with you on the journey, right? And you also probably understood what was going on as well. And so, it's a good lesson for other people listening, which is, hey, you could be the most successful guy on the planet, but things can still go wrong. But that's okay. It's life.
Totally. Things go, and exactly. And the worst thing, it was life. I mean, imagine this superhero hostess, right? Like making time for me to come back. And she knew I was going to be back, because after the first time, okay, that happened. But at the second time, she already knew. No matter how many times, we were both going to be reborn from the ashes. Like, like the phoenix, bird kind of thing. So anyway, so it was a humbling story for myself today.
No, and it's a great lesson. And you know what, we didn't even plan to talk about this on this podcast, but I think again, it's just something that happened literally only a few minutes ago for you, but it's a great story to share for our listeners, because it's almost like putting peace of mind in for them to know that it doesn't matter what your journey is going to be or how you go about it. If things go wrong, it's okay. If it can happen to Angel, it can happen to anyone, and that's fine. It's happened to me plenty of times, and it'll continue to happen. But that there are lessons to be learned in this experience. Angel, I want to find out from you. Obviously, you got your business started. What was other than wanting to help, organizations and CEOs and companies improve their sales and improve their revenue and improve their business, was there a bigger factor? Like people often ask, what is your why or your driver, even wanting to be in business? Because you were very successful doing this in corporate, but what was it that led you to want to go into business for yourself specifically? Did you?
Yeah, I wanted to spend more time with my family. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, also, I started my foundation. Besides my business, I started an international foundation along with 2 other people from Mexico, a couple of friends of mine. Yep. Now, at that time, they were business partners. And I wanted to, and with our international foundation, it's Wisdom for Kids, we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using the local resources. Looking from today, looking to 5 years ago when I made that decision, I'm sure that there were many other reasons that they had not thought about. And probably one of them was, if I really wanted to grow, I really had to change the course of my life. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to be doing different things. I had to be exposing myself more. I had to give my passion. Thank you for mentioning that before. I had to share my passion, because I think that when you share your passion, things start to change. And
yes.
a couple of years ago, I went to a magic place here in the U.S. It's called the Philosopher's Camp. Okay. You can Google it. And it's an incredible 100 acres place in the mountains in the upstate New York Adirondacks. That's the name of the mountain chain, Adirondacks. And I spent there a week. The place is magic. It's amazing. And I was able to really go back to my essence and go back to my childhood without really, it was not the purpose, but that's exactly what happened. I went back to my childhood
Yeah.
And that's how magic this place is. And I was able to write for the first time, just 2 years ago, my own mission statement, my own declaration. We call it my life declaration.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is my life declaration. I'm going to read it. Not read it, but I'm going to share it because I share it. I try to share it sometimes when it's convenient. I consider myself, and the reason why I'm sharing it because I think, and I would like everybody listening to try to bring this home. Try to put yourself inside my declaration because I believe that my declaration is yours. And I'm talking to every single one of you. Every single one of you. This is my declaration. I am an unstoppable divine force that brings connection to the unconnected by uplifting their energy and empowering their awareness. That's my declaration, okay?
Yep.
And if you think about it, who is not doing that every single day? Who is not with their business bridging some sort of gap? Who is not trying to bring connection to the people that are unconnected or disconnected? When in the history of humankind has it been more necessary to bring connection among people?
Yeah.
So that's why, and when you are really thriving and you're using your passion and you're using your best of yourself to enlighten the others and to uplift the others and to empower the others, it's where it becomes addictive. And when I was in corporate America, I had a lot of success. Unfortunately, I left my family aside, unfortunately, but I would stay literally 2 weeks away from home, but I was enjoying so much what I was doing. Yeah. Those weekends in between were weekends in which I was literally giving training, sales training to my sales force or to my distribution channels, literally.
Yeah.
And I was loving it. And it would be from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. sessions nonstop, role playing, whiteboarding, deals, analyzing pipelines, all this kind of stuff. It was so much fun.
I believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was at my best, and I would not run out of battery until it was 8 p.m. and then we would go together to have dinner, and sometimes we would drink something, but I was nonstop, and I would love it, and and that's what makes me different.
Yeah,
really.
It's interesting you say that because when you're on purpose, I've said this to a lot of people myself, when you are doing work that you truly believe in and you're on purpose and you're acting with integrity and in congruence with, what you believe in. And like you said, you had a mission, to go and do this, right? And so you're living it. It's not work to you. You're almost like playing, like you're having fun. And
totally.
Yeah, it could be a 12-hour day, but at the end of it, you have more energy than when you started the day. And I know where you're coming from because, when I do the kind of work I'm doing, for example, I actually don't get tired. Sometimes I forget to eat because I'm just loving what I'm doing. And it's hard to explain this to people who don't get it, but I do. I hear what you're saying, and to get to that point is a magical place. But it doesn't happen instantly for a lot of people. Sometimes, like you said, you've just got to put one step in front of the other, get on that journey, get started, pick one focus area and just go for it. Now, it may work out, it may not work out, but you'll never know unless you start. And then once you start, you'll find out, hey, I enjoy this, I don't enjoy this, I like this aspect, I don't like that aspect. And you keep tweaking and you keep refining, you keep reinventing, keep rebooting, like you said earlier, until you get to this place where you are doing the kind of work that you were meant to do. That's what you're saying, right?
Let me add something to what you just said.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny. Obviously, we will have lunch together. There will be like a working lunch for all those courses and everything. But it's so funny because right now, for instance, I practice fasting. Very often. I practice fasting very often. Mm-hmm. And I do long fasts, and it's amazing how magic really your human body is.
Yeah.
And it's been shown, it's been demonstrated that actually by fasting you can heal your body. It's been demonstrated. And I've done almost 100 hours of fasting. Wow. I know people that have done more than 100 hours.
Yeah.
I try to do every single day at least 16 to 18 hours every single day.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. And the funny thing is, and right now, if I was to do the same thing, obviously with all the release forms and liability release forms and things, but I would strongly suggest not having lunches in the middle of the course, because when your body goes into, let's say, fasting mode or starvation mode, actually it becomes more receptive, and you are renewing yourself inside, and you are much more awake, because I remember after lunch, it was difficult, after that lunch that we would have while working, we would kind of, oh my God, and people yawning, and people would have to stand up to drink more coffee,
yes.
So it's funny how, as I said on my mission, we are unstoppable divine human beings, really.
Yeah.
We are unstoppable divine beings, really unstoppable.
Yes.
And we can really do so much more. And we have this intrinsic power, innate power inside of us, that we can really achieve anything. But unfortunately, we have become so comfortable with our lives that we said, no, I will not compromise this. I will not compromise this hour of sleep, or I will not compromise this hour of blah, blah, blah. I know that you don't have to procrastinate your family, right? You don't have to sacrifice your family or compromise your family. I know that because, and even more when you have young kids, but, you are really physically made to thrive.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you might think. And with everything that has happened in the world for the last 17, 18 months, I want to reiterate this. You have been built in a magic machine, in a flawless machine called human body, right? That is able to defend you from anything out there.
Yeah.
Anything, right? So, I mean, I really like to come to my own conclusions, and very often people ask me, what's one of the qualities of the successful CEOs, and very often, or C-level executives. Very often I say critical thinking, their ability to discern, and I think this should be also qualities that our kids, since very early ages, they should be learning how to be a discerning person.
Yes.
How to develop that critical thinking that allows you to see things that others don't. How to become your own master, so that while following some guidelines through the educational system, you are still able to shine. Yeah. And you don't shine because you have a 100 out of 100. You shine when you're able to discover what you are good for, when you're good at, and what your passion is and your talents are. And this there's this comparison between, if you put a fish to play tennis, obviously don't expect that fish to win that tennis tournament, right? But it's the same thing. So we're not created equal. Each of us have different talents and different gifts. The thing is, how long does it take to us to discover those gifts and put them to play for our own fulfillment as human beings? That's the big question.
It is.
That's the big question.
It's great that you brought that up. I mean, this is, when I work with people, when I work with my clients, and, we have a program that helps people to plan and work all this stuff out, so that while they're still in their corporate job, or maybe they're in a business they're not happy about, how do they map out this transition? And the very first thing I talk to people about, honestly, Angel, is exactly what you just said, which is you already have these skills and talents and gifts, and you already have what it takes to succeed. Now, you might not believe it, you might not even know it yet, but we have to uncover it. We have to unravel through the layers. We need to get through all the, all the crap that might be people have put on top of you to kind of shield you from that. And once you discover that, I mean, you're quite right, and I 100% believe you are unstoppable, and the only person who can stop you is yourself. And quite often, when I talk to business owners or entrepreneurs or people that, where their business has failed for whatever reason, a lot of the time it's failed because of their inability to move past a certain hurdle or challenge or roadblock, right? And it's the same in the corporate world. If you're talking to a CEO and that CEO is stuck or the company is stuck where they're at, it's because there's things holding them back. So you come in and then you wave your magic wand and you're able to help, unveil the potential within them, and suddenly things are okay again. And, I guess you and I are on a very similar mission to help people really find the best within themselves because they already have it, and then to go out and be a shining light.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly. So the thing is, how long is it going to take to them?
That's the question. How long? Yeah.
So we are here to help them. Exactly.
Yeah. So, one of the other things I wanted to touch base with you is, obviously you think this way, I think this way, some other people may, but not everyone does. So, when people are starting off on this journey and they getting into business or they're getting into this entrepreneurial spirit, if you do it on your own, I found it's a very lonely place to be. And, you need to almost surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that, you can share the joys, successes, and failures of what you're doing with other people that get you. How important was it for you when you were starting your business to surround yourself with like-minded people, or have a mentor, or have someone that could guide you? And, so you weren't doing this all on your own.
Yes. And throughout this time, something that I did, thank God, was before even I left corporate America, I started to go to conferences of people that could help me set up my own business. So I started to go to conferences of coaches, famous coaches, online marketeers, motivational speakers, mindset experts, all people that could help me on my journey. Okay, and I spent a lot of money doing that. And I think that that's something that everybody should do. So try to build some confidence out of what other people have already done before you. And try to go to places where you know that what these people are doing really works. So do your due diligence, use your discernment to know exactly to which places you would like to go, or you think that would be appropriate for you to go. So I went to a lot of different places. That's probably number one. Number two, I took a few coaches. Okay, so when I took some Tony Robbins coaches, obviously went to a Tony Robbins event as well.
Yep.
And I took other different coaches. And I think that this is extremely important to have someone that helps you build that confidence that you need.
Yeah.
Helps you build that confidence. Otherwise, it's impossible. Nobody builds their own confidence based on what they see around unless they start trying to build it themselves. You know?
Yeah.
And I think and in order to build that confidence, you have to actually get out of your comfort zone, go to those places, learn some systems, some processes that you're not familiar with, and start implementing them. And also, something that besides everything that I already said is also, hire people that can help you on those areas that you are not an expert yet. And that's something I failed miserable, Gavin.
Me too.
I thought, no. I'm going to keep my money because, I'm running out of money. That's a limiting belief, right?
Yes.
It's on itself.
Yes.
I'm not going to hire this person. You know what happened to me? Unfortunately, I delayed my own success because I didn't want to have the help from other people.
Yeah. Yes. I hear you. And this is
I wish I had taken the opportunities from all the different people that offer me their help to do things that I decided to do by myself, because I literally wasted, I would say, 12 to 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have that time, really. No. I'm not trying to stress anybody. I'm not trying to put more anxiety into their brains. What I'm trying to say is that you already have everything you need to start creating something that people need.
Yeah.
I used to have on those training courses I've mentioned so many times throughout our conversation today, very often there would be those new sales reps that they would ask me, "Hey, Angel, all right, we've enjoyed this course. Amazing. Thank you for taking your weekend to be with us." Obviously, I was not paid to do that, but I was always doing that. Angel, I'm afraid of something, which is, I only have this small territory, and you know what? And there's a limited amount of opportunities. I'm really fearful of running out of leads.
Yeah.
I'm really fearful. And then I would ask questions like, okay, so have you already called all your leads? Not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know how many companies in your territory are based? Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what's the total amount of dollars that, according to what you offer to them, the market size is? They will say no.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So after all those questions, in which obviously they understood what I was coming from, I would tell them the same thing, all of them. Whenever you run out of leads from that particular territory, you call me personally, and I will make sure, along with my marketing team, we will send you 100, 200, 300, 1,000 leads additional to you. So people don't have an issue with leads.
Yeah.
People have issues with believing in themselves. People have issues with how to do a better job with the leads that they have. People have issues with not taking maybe your car and going to all those industrial parks, industrial estates, and look for additional names of companies that they still have not been registered anywhere, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
There's so many deterrents, right? There's so many things that make you still be on your chair, on your cubicle, on your office, without doing something that nobody else does.
Yeah.
And, and I remember putting challenges to the sales force saying, okay, so this upcoming month, we're going to do this challenge. You're going to go to the top 10 industrial estates in your area, and you are going to tell me how many company names that you never saw on any registry, on any, online website, anything that you discovered throughout that, going by, door by door, knocking at those doors and seeing all those plants and all these people going in and out of those manufacturing plants or companies or co-working spaces, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And so there's an unlimited amount of sales opportunities out there.
Correct.
The question is not if they exist. The question is, are you going to uncover them, yes or no?
Yes.
Are you going to deal with them in a different way? Are you going to want to learn how to deal with them better?
I like that. I really like that. One of the things one of the challenges people come up with, when we're talking about, what could you be doing? What if you were to start a business, what would that look like? And most of the time, sometimes people say to me, I don't know what I could do. I mean, and they might be, let's say, very proficient at providing a particular service, like yourself, right? And I said, have you ever considered doing this for yourself, maybe, and doing something better in the market? And they would go, oh, but I'm an accountant, right? And there's thousands of accountants. I mean, it would never work. Or let's say they're really good at sales or sales training, and they'll go, but there's so many people out there who are doing this. I mean, there'd be so much competition, and it's exactly what you just said, Angel. It's, could you see yourself doing it better? Are there gaps in the market? Are there opportunities that other people haven't uncovered? I mean, could you provide a better service, a more premium service, maybe a more targeted niche where you work with? And I mean, like you said, there's unlimited opportunities. Just because there are many dentists out there or accountants, does that mean no one is going to study accounting or dentistry in school anymore? Come on. There's an unlimited number of opportunities and people out there who need your help, need your expertise. But are you willing to go out and look for it? And that's some of the stuff we talk to people about as well. So I get where you're coming from. I think that's really good advice. Really good advice.
And it's so funny because that also applies to us personally, right?
Exactly.
Because we are not we're not flawless. I mean,
correct.
And I could tell you exactly. I mean, I could tell you so many examples that we know it's not easy. But the thing is, if you have a support person, things become easier.
Yes.
So be humble enough to have a support system around you that can support you when you go through those, times in your life in which you might not have the clarity that you need.
Yeah.
And, every time I have I've given probably the same as you. I've given hundreds and hundreds of hours for free of advice to people, right? And they're all like, wow, wow, we definitely love what you just told us. And most of the, rather than using an 80-20 rule, I like to use always the 1% to 99% rule.
Okay.
So 1 to 99%, because I honestly think, regardless of what Mr. Pareto said a long time ago, I honestly think that in reality today, given the level of distractions that we have in our lives, only 1% of the people take action.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah.
Only. At most. At most. And again, that humbly applies to us as well.
Yeah.
So even if we put in place like a to-do list and a system, and still it's very hard for us to follow through.
Yeah.
And of those hundreds of people I trained throughout my life, sales-wise, I guarantee you that only 1% ever followed what I said. Yeah. And still following what I said. And I'm from time to time I get emails from them saying, "Hey, Angel, I still remember your courses. I still remember what you did. It was amazing." And these people still, tag me sometimes, or I tag them so they participate on my posts or whatever that is. So in reality, what I'm trying to tell you is that it is much easier for you to stand out than it was before. Yes. Much easier.
I love that.
The same way. Yeah, exactly. And also something else. Let's balance things up here. Okay. So let's say that Gavin and I were both, let's say, life coaches. Okay. Let's say life coaches.
Yep.
Let's say that Gavin and I, we live in the same town. Let's put it dramatic. The town is 20,000 people.
Yeah.
We're both life coaches. Okay. Let's say we both are certified by the same institution as life coaches. Guess what? There's people that will only resonate with Gavin and what he's standing up for. And there's people that are only going to resonate with me.
Exactly.
And what I stand up for. So what I'm trying to say, the question that you have to ask yourself is not if you will be able to sell your services or your products. The question is, how authentic am I going to be? I really want to be. How authentic I really want to be myself to the world so that I'm able to attract the customers that are there already waiting for me.
Yeah.
Because this already exists. There are already a group of people that will only hire you.
Yes.
That already exists. I'm not making it up. That's why when I was talking about the number of leads that they were sending to my Salesforce, if they said that they were running out of leads, it's a limiting belief. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
100% agree. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. It doesn't. In fact, when people tell me, "Oh, there's so many people doing the same thing," I mean, I'm a classic example. I run a mentoring program and I coach people, I help people. There are a lot of people Angel, who are doing what I'm doing. But I'll tell you now, there is not a single person in the world doing it the way I do it.
Exactly.
That has my story, that has my mission, that has my, my authenticity and all of that. And I'm not looking to help every single person on the planet. I believe in abundance and I believe there's enough for everyone. I'm just looking for the people that resonate with my mission, with my personality, with my way of doing things. Because if we're on the same page, we can work, we can do some magic together, right? And I know it's the same with you as well. So I 100% agree with that line of thinking. And for anyone listening, take heart that there is plenty of opportunity for you to do whatever you want to do. Do not worry about what other people are doing. And even if it seems like it's a very, very crowded market, that's an even better platform for you to stand out, because you only have to do a little bit better than the 99%, and you immediately become the 1%.
Exactly.
I think it's actually quite an exciting proposition. So,
Mhm.
one of the things as we're getting sort of towards the nearing the end, and I can talk to you about this stuff for hours, quite honestly, but I really want to understand how important is it, Angel, for you, you're training people, you're teaching people all these principles to have a vision and have goals. I mean, being in a sales background, this is almost embedded in our culture, but in life, in business, as an entrepreneur, how important is it for you to have a vision of where you're going, have a structured path in terms of, having milestones and things like that?
Yeah. Let me tell you, number one, I'm very skeptical about lots of things happening in the corporate world. Okay.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, I was myself a long time without a mission with M, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I told you, I didn't feel comfortable with the missions I had written until I went to this philosopher's camp in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I have to say that since I have a mission, I feel myself more powerful because I see myself and I feel myself more focused than any time before in my life, honestly.
Yeah.
And about my mission, I think my mission comes really by executing my vision. About my vision. My vision comes after being myself really focused on my mission. Then it is that I see what I really want to accomplish, and I keep on increasing my outreach and my exposure. That's why I'm so much exposing myself and sharing myself
Mm-hmm.
with my stories and everything. And about the goals, I am very skeptical, and I'm extremely skeptical about goals and to-do lists. And let me tell you why. Okay?
Sure. Yep.
Because I think that as soon as we set goals, we set a separation between ourselves and the goals. So I think that rather than call them goals, I think that we should change that dramatically. Okay?
Okay.
And we should call them, I don't know, we should call them maybe realities, maybe dreams, maybe dream maybe has many different connotations that I don't like, but
Sure.
what I'm trying to say is that as soon as you define or you set a target, what is the target? Oh my God, the target is out there, right? And you have your gun, or you have your sales, unique selling, propositions, selling points, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a target which is out there. Why if instead of talking about goals and targets, you talk about realities that you want to create, and you started to think from those realities already accomplished, as opposed to what are we going to do from where we are today to get to that target? I have not, honestly, Gavin, I have never ever in my entire life heard anybody, any single, not one, C-level executive, CEO, salesperson, telling me this.
Yes.
Why don't you start by the end instead of starting from where you are? Why don't you start defining your things to do from that reality already accomplished?
I like that. I really like that.
And I can tell you why. I can tell you why this is not taught. I can tell you why this is not taught in the school. Because if that was taught in the school, it's like promoting self-awareness in the school. Who wants to really do that?
Yeah.
When the school system hasn't changed in the last 150 years, you still have the same layout of doors and tables and chairs and everything.
Yeah.
And everybody's basically being graded the same way.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The other day, I am a very disruptive guy. I told you I'm very unconventional. I did something really weird. I said, okay, I want to get that job. And I applied for a job in a very, exotic country, okay? I said, I want to apply for that job, okay? And there's this massive intermediary company between the client and myself, and they put me through a selection process, okay? And guess what? The first thing is what? Psychotechnical tests.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Okay? But listen. I go through that psychotechnical test. It was the same test I had taken when I was in 3rd grade.
Wow.
The exact same one.
That's crazy.
And I did something I should have not done, but I was in the kitchen with the entire family doing that. So I was literally responding to that psychotechnical test, and it was only like 42 questions, and I think I answered 28 or something. And then the results came back, and they said, sorry, but we only literally, unfortunately, it was a screen, and I didn't take a screenshot, but we only work with the smartest people out there.
Oh, wow. That's
so I was
incredible.
disqualified. I was disqualified right out of the bat because of that. Okay, so all right. So we are measuring in that exotic country. This intermediary company, literally, they ran probably 90% of every single opening in that country. That's how powerful this company is. They own that country. I can only imagine how miserable the workforce of that country is going to be if the result of that first test is disqualifying a lot of. And again, I mean, I'm not questioning about how good or bad my IQ is, and I don't care, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was pretty good when I was a kid, and that's enough. And probably that was the last time I took a psychotechnical test. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to. I mean, I'm not criticizing the people behind this test nor anything. What I'm trying to say is, how can you expect high-level executives, important members of your staff, of your workforce, if they are still, how do you expect them to take your company to the next level if you are only taking into consideration a particular psychological test, psychotechnical test, knowing that right now there are at least 7 different types of intelligence compared to when we were kids, that was the only way to measure the levels of success, academic success, when you were in the school. So do you see how much our world has to change still? That's why I'm saying it's not a matter of 80-20. It's a matter of 1% against 99%.
Yeah.
If you guys listening do what the 1% of people do, again, 1%, you are going to really succeed. You will be successful. And success means different things for everybody. For me, success is having the time, the freedom to do with my time whatever I want every single day in my life. That's for me success. Whatever success means to you, you can achieve it because it's easier and easier and easier to achieve it every single day.
Mm-hmm. No, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing that story. And I completely hear there are a lot of imperfections in the way business is being done and conducted, and a lot of people are being dismissed. And you're right. We need to look beyond the traditional means. There's a lot of talent out there, and I think with what you're doing with your business, you are uncovering, we talked about earlier, the hidden gems in companies and really helping people see behind the curtains, right? And so I think that's really, really great that you shared that, Angel. What I would love to do now is just really change complete tack now. We've talked about all the heavy stuff. I just want to have a little bit of fun. Not that we haven't, but really just getting inside your head and just, I'm going to shoot some quick questions at you, and whatever comes to your mind, just
okay.
Tell me. Yeah, it's called rapid response, and we have a bit of fun with this. So ready to go?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Of course.
What is your favorite mode of learning? Like, how do you like to learn?
Visually.
Visually?
Okay. Oh yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And do you have a role model or a hero or someone you look up to that inspires you, or maybe more than one?
I only have one. It was my dad, and he's still alive, thank God, in Spain. He's 80 years old, 81. He's going to be 82 this year. Since I was a kid, I was always with him, learning with him, going everywhere with him. It's definitely my dad.
That is incredible. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Now, we talked about a couple of quotes earlier in the program. Is there a favorite quote that comes to mind when you're talking to people or training people and things like that you'd like to share?
I think it was Nelson Mandela who said, everything seems impossible until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorites. And the second one is the one that you mentioned about Albert Einstein, because it's so true. we tend to do the wrong thing more efficiently over and over and over again,
Yes.
without realizing that we should be changing the way we tackle things.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite, don't expect different results if you keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Wonderful.
Those are my two favorites.
Great. Wonderful. And we did talk about one of the charities that you set up, or one of the institutions.
Yeah.
But please tell us a little bit more about, if there's more than one, or if you want to elaborate a little bit on that. And
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's called Wisdom for Kids.
Sure.
And basically what we do is we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using the local resources. We started that in 2017. Mm-hmm. And we've helped more than 1,000 kids to start their entrepreneurial journey. Amazing. Basically, we go to underprivileged areas, communities in the continent.
Yep.
So that you have an idea, there's 81 million kids.
Yeah.
81 million kids that live in poverty in Latin America.
Yeah.
81 million kids live in poverty in Latin America. So there's a lot of kids. So we go there, we engage with the communities, and we deliver our workshops. And our workshops are really life-changing. They're basically energy-based, like literally, mm-hmm. very, very energy-based. And we do, we basically, it's not like whiteboarding or blackboarding. It's engaging with them, it's connecting with them, it's jumping up and down, it's exercising, it's dancing. Yeah. It's singing, it's telling stories, sharing stories, asking questions, and making sure. And the last part of our workshops is actually a 20-minute guided meditation, which is really magic. And basically, we have an extraordinary music that was, licensed for free by one of the leaders here in the U.S. of spiritual music. And our affirmations, we worked on our affirmations for a very long time to make sure that they were really powerful. And really, our workshops are unique because we really help kids anchor that feeling of being unstoppable, that they can really achieve anything in their lives, that regardless of what's happening around them, they can become whoever they want, and whoever they want to become, it's okay. There's nobody there that should be telling them what they don't have to be.
Yeah.
It's very, and that's one of the challenges for us, obviously, when we go to those workshops, because then a parent or a tutor can kind of rubber off completely what we said to the kid in only one sentence, right? Or because they have, but still, we work with them, we work with the kids, we work with the parents, we work with the tutors, and we have those local volunteers that help those kids become entrepreneurs and follow their journey. So again, it's called Wisdom for Kids. Fantastic. And it's an incredible, foundation, and, with anybody that would like to contribute in any way.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, and much power and success to you guys for doing some incredible work there. Now, something quirky about you that not many people know. I mean, is there anything you'd like to share that's maybe not so embarrassing, or, whatever? Just tell us a little bit,
Maybe one of the things that not many people know is that I really like, as a way to change my state, I really like to dance.
Oh, okay.
And I really like electronic music, and I have my own DJ table.
Oh, wow.
And I love to make my own mixes, and I love to actually compose my own music. Many people don't know that.
Yeah.
And very often when I have to drive to a particular place and I'm by myself in the car, I put myself the earbuds and I play this electronic music. I have my own favorite top-rated playlist that I play over and over and over again, and that really changes my state and takes me to the place where I want to be, which is a place of making sure I am a witness of passion and enthusiasm and authenticity to everybody.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Now, I feel I know you a bit better, and I can relate, because we all have little things that, we do outside of the norm just to center ourselves and get us back into the mode that we need to be. So, whatever that is for you, fantastic. As we wrap up, Angel, I mean, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you, get to know you, share your story and learn from you, and obviously pick up a lot of great tips. How can our listeners get in touch with you if they either want to find out more about what you do. I know you've got an umbrella company called Divine Ventures and things like that. I mean, talk to us. Where's the best place for people to either reach out and find out more information?
To find out more about what I do, the best way to do it is to go to my LinkedIn profile. It's a professional network. You look for Angel Ribo. My last name is 4 letters, R-I-B as in boy, O, Ribo. My first name is Angel as in heaven, right?
Yes.
My brand, as you said in the beginning, my brand is the CEO Confidant, And again, go to LinkedIn. You will see what I do. You will see all my services there. You will see that I post almost every single day. And then you will have an idea of who I am and what kind of content I share and everything. And you will see what my conversations and everything. And that's one thing. The second thing, if you want to contact me directly, and again, I'm not a salesy guy, regardless of my sales experience. I will never pitch you, unless you're asking me to what I do and how I can help you. So I would feel free to send me an email. Either my team or myself are going to answer you. It's a very simple email address. It's Angel@AngelRibo, as one word, Angel Ribo. Again, remember my last name, Ribo, R-I-B as in boy, O.com. Angel@AngelRibo.com. Wow. And that's pretty much it. It's very easy to find me. You Google me, and you will find a lot of content related to me and my name.
No, that's great. That's great. And congratulations on all the good work you are doing with the foundation that you mentioned, with the work that you're doing with other companies and CEOs, and just spreading your message, all over the world with your podcasts. And, you're doing some really great work, Angel. And so, we'd love to keep in touch and see how we can share your message more. But thank you for spending the time today. And I'm sure our listeners got a lot out of it. And we look forward to keeping in touch. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here. And obviously, thank you, everybody who's been listening to us today.
If you like this podcast and would like to understand a little bit more about what was just discussed, then you're in luck. Simply head over to breakfreefromcorporate.com and we have a fantastic bonus gift waiting for you to download. All we ask in return is that you leave us a review on iTunes and or Stitcher, whichever you use. And lastly, help us share this podcast around with your friends, your colleagues, through Facebook, Twitter, Google+, or LinkedIn. We truly appreciate all your support, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this podcast episode of Break Free from Corporate. Once again, to access previous and all future episodes, visit breakfreefromcorporate.com and subscribe today.